welcome back to my channel. This project was a lot of fun. I actually really enjoyed pretty much everything. I did not get a mask to wear, which I probably should have, and this room is hard to ventilate because I don't have any screens in the windows. I only have storm doors on them, so I wasn't really able to keep it ventilated too much, and it also was fairly cold outside, so I was freezing in here. This room does not heat very well. I don't know what the problem is. I think it was an old porch converted into an extra room just to have extra space, which is fine. It's a little slopey in here, but it does get cold, which I was a little worried about with the curing process. But I've used resin before, but it was the UV cure resin, and I used it on a tumbler, and honestly the process of that was a huge nightmare. I did not like the texture of it. It didn't cure completely flat. It was very bumpy, and it was still sticky. So I think I threw it away in the move, to be honest with you. So I'm gonna probably redo that later this year because I love customizing tumblers, and I don't know, I just have a lot of fun with that. But I wanted to try this kind of resin and see if I can make something that will be usable. So I thought, I paint, might as well make a paint palette. I wasn't really wanting to invest in a lot of expensive materials for this, so I pretty much got the dried flowers cheap. I think I got it on Amazon, and then the resin I got on Amazon. I've had it for, I don't know, I think I bought the resin in December. So I got the molds earlier this year though, in January time, before we knew that we were moving. So everything's kind of been packed away. But I'm gonna go through the process of how I did it, and yeah, I really enjoyed this project, so I hope you like it. So we're just gonna get right into the process.
Okay, so I read that it was really important to make sure that every place that you put any sort of resin, whether it's curing or you're pouring or you're decorating it, whatever it is, that it is as clean as possible. So I did wipe everything down with Clorox wipes before I even got all my materials out on the surface. I used a AB equal mix resin. I know there's a couple different types of resin you can use, but this is what I was able to get. And then I got some dried flowers on Amazon. I did get some extra gloves and polish that I actually didn't even use the polish. And I cleaned out my mold because I had it a while, and well, there was cat hair settled into it. So you basically just mix equal parts AB. I did add a little glitter for effect. I thought it might also hide any bubbles that were in the resin once it dried. So I just poured a nice thin layer, and then I went in and smoothed it around. I definitely need to get more popsicle sticks if I want to keep going with this because I used every single one. This one I used little round flowers, and I just kind of pressed it in there. I poured some more resin on top, trying to get them as flat as possible, but this is how this one looked for curing. I actually ended up getting another mold that was larger, and I very grossly underestimated the amount of resin it would take to fill this mold. But once I got a nice thin layer of that same glitter resin mix, I went in with some kind of green and teal colored flowers, some leaves. I added a couple of little white ones as well. I smoothed that as much as I could, and I let that cure and rest for a while. I did fuss with the flowers for a little while, but I was trying to be careful because you only have so much time to work with the resin once you pour it, or really once you mix it. So that's how that turned out. And then I did go in with another layer. I kind of wish I had done just clean, plain resin, but I did add more glitter to this resin as this top coat had set for a few hours. It almost became too glittery. I don't know how it'll look when you're trying to mix paint on it. But again, I really underestimated the amount of resin that you would use for this kind of project. Next time I'll have to get it in bulk so that I have more than enough. I did have enough, I didn't make enough out of what I had. So I poured a little layer over top of both of them to try and flatten out where the flowers were. It didn't work great. They still had a little bit of an issue floating to the top, But once they were cured, they looked really great. Here's how they turned out.